The Earth's biosphere is incapable of supporting human life.
Or, hold on. We are barely 10 seconds in, and you're starting with that.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Earth is our home. It's the Goldilocks zone.
Is it?
It's literally the only place we know of where we don't instantly freeze or boil. It is our spaceship.
That is the comforting lie we've all been told, but it is a lie. And that claim that the Earth is actually a death trap without our intervention is the core of the book we are unpacking today on Nonfiction Insights.
Okay, so what's the book?
We're doing a deep dive into The Beginning of Infinity by the physicist David Deutsch. And if he's right, everything you think about sustainability, safety, and our future is fundamentally backwards.
I've read the summaries. And look, Deutsch is a legend in quantum computing. I'll give him that. But to say the Earth can't support us, that just feels objectively false. We evolved here. We fit. This isn't Mars.
Do we fit, though? I mean, let's look at the Great Rift Valley in East Africa. That's our ancestral home. Primeval Oxfordshire, as Deutsch calls the natural state of the world. Yeah. If you were dropped there today, naked, no tools, no knowledge of fire or shelter, how long would you last?
Naked. A few days. Maybe a week if I got really lucky and found some clean water.
Exactly. You'd freeze, or you'd starve, or you'd get eaten. In its natural state, the biosphere doesn't nurture us. It actively tries to kill us. The only reason you and I are sitting in a warm room drinking clean water is because human beings force the environment to sustain us.
But that's just semantics.
We didn't find a life support system. We built one.
Okay, but we're still using the resources Earth provided. We are passengers on this spaceship Earth, and right now it feels like we're looting the pantry. Deutsch can't deny that we are consuming finite resources.
And that brings us to the first huge idea from the book, the universal constructor. Deutsch argues that seeing humans as mere consumers is a category error. We aren't consumers, we are constructors.
Universal constructor. That sounds like something out of a comic book.
It's a physics term, actually. A universal constructor is something that can cause any raw material to undergo any physical transformation, as long as the laws of physics don't forbid it. Just think about uranium.
Okay. Dangerous radioactive rock.
For almost all of human history, uranium was just a useless, slightly warm rock. It wasn't a resource. It was garbage, a danger. It only became a resource, it only became energy when we created the knowledge to turn it into a reactor.
So you're saying resources aren't things, they are knowledge.
Precisely. To a caveman, crude oil is just some sticky black sludge that ruins your water supply. To us, it's fuel. The physical matter didn't change at all. Our knowledge did. Deutsch's point is we don't loot the spaceship. We transform it. We're the only things in the known universe that create new explanations, and that, in turn, creates new resources.
But that sounds like a blank check to just destroy everything. Oh, don't worry about the forest. We'll just invent a mechanical tree later. It feels reckless. We are stripping away the very systems that support us.
And this is where we have to talk about something he calls parochialism. This is step 2. To understand why your fear, which is a very common fear, is actually the dangerous thing, we have to look at Roman numerals.
Okay, you've lost me. What do ancient numbers have to do with environmental collapse?
Everything. Imagine you're a Roman accountant. You've got your symbols, IV, X, L, C, and so on. You can count soldiers, you can tally up wheat. But now try to do long division. Try to calculate the trajectory of a rocket.
You can't. The system is way too clunky.
It's not just clunky, it's parochial. It's bound to a specific context. It lacks universality. Then we get positional numerals, the Arabic system. We get the concept of zero. And suddenly, with just 10 symbols, you can calculate anything. Black holes, quantum mechanics, numbers bigger than the universe.
Sure, Arabic numerals are a better tool. But again, how does this connect to the environment?
That jump to positional numerals was a jump to universality. And here's the connection. When you look at the future and say, we are running out of resources, or climate change is going to kill us, you are thinking like a Roman accountant trying to do calculus. You're using a parochial mindset. You're assuming the future will look just like the past, only with more problems and less stuff.
But we are running out of stuff. That isn't a mindset. It's a physical fact. There is a finite amount of lithium, a finite amount of oil. You can't just knowledge your way out of an empty tank of gas.
But you can knowledge your way into a fusion reactor, or a hydrogen cell, or into something we haven't even named yet. The doomer perspective, as Deutsch sees it, suffers from a lack of imagination about knowledge creation. Parochialism is the belief that because we can't see the solution with our current tools, no solution exists.
I get the theoretical point. But history is filled with civilizations that collapsed. Look at Easter Island. They cut down all their trees to move those statues, ran out of wood, couldn't build canoes to fish, and they starved. They didn't innovate their way out of that one. They died.
I'm so glad you brought up Easter Island because Deutsch uses that exact example to completely dismantle the modern view of sustainability.
It's a textbook case of unsustainability.
Well, he argues that the standard interpretation, the Jared Diamond view, that they were just greedy and consumed their whole biosphere, is wrong. The Easter Islanders didn't die because they ran out of trees. They died because they were a static society.
What do you mean by static?
A static society is one where the main moral goal is to not change. They survive by suppressing criticism and innovation. On Easter Island, they had this rigid culture, totally dedicated to building those statues. When the trees started running out, nobody could say, hey, maybe we should stop this and figure out how to grow more trees, or let's invent a boat that doesn't need wood.
The culture forbade it.
They ran out of ideas long before they ran out of trees. Compare them to Sparta versus Athens. We think of Sparta as the strong, stable warrior culture. Deutsch calls it a death cult. They chained up their minds. Athens was messy, critical, dynamic. Athens gave us the tools to understand the world. Sparta gave us nothing, a cautionary tale.
So you're saying stability is actually dangerous, because right now, looking at the world AI, bioweapons, climate change, a little stability sounds pretty good. We're moving so fast, we're breaking things.
Stability is death. That is the hard truth of this book. In a static system, new problems are inevitable. A drought will happen. A new virus will mutate. If you are static, if you are sustainable by just doing the same thing over and over, you will eventually face a problem you can't solve, and you will be wiped out.
So what's the alternative?
Error correction is life. The only real safety is in moving forward, in solving problems.
But isn't there a risk of moving too fast? This is the precautionary principle. If a new technology, like AI, has even a small chance of wiping us out, shouldn't we stop or slow down until we know it's safe?
And Deutsch would say that is the most dangerous idea of all.
Precaution is dangerous. How?
Because it assumes that stopping is the safe option. It assumes if we just stand still, the tigers won't get us. But the tigers, the asteroids, the supervolcanoes, the gamma ray bursts are coming anyway. If we stop progress to be safe, we are voluntarily disarming ourselves against the future.
This feels like walking a tightrope. We have to keep running because if we stop, we fall. But if we run too fast, we might trip.
Which brings us to the absolute core of the book, the principle of optimism. And you have to understand, he's not using optimism like a motivational poster. He's using it as a law of physics.
How can optimism possibly be a law of physics?
Here's the definition from the book. All evils are caused by insufficient knowledge.
All evils? That's a huge claim. What about genocide? A plague?
Well, a plague is pretty clearly a result of insufficient knowledge of biology, right? If we knew how to kill the bacterium or virus, the evil vanishes. Genocide. That's usually caused by bad explanations, racist ideologies, economic fallacies, this parochial belief that for me to live, you must die. These are all just errors in thinking.
Okay, but what about physical limits? We can't just wish away gravity or the laws of thermodynamics.
Right, and the physicist's definition of possible is this. Everything that is not forbidden by the laws of nature is achievable, given the right knowledge.
Given the right knowledge, that phrase is doing a lot of heavy lifting.
It is, but it completely changes the game. It means there's no such thing as too hard. There's only impossible by the laws of physics, like a perpetual motion machine, or possible if we can just figure it out.
So curing death.
Biologically difficult, yes, but not forbidden by physics. Turning lead into gold. Possible. Teleportation. Probably possible.
So we're just gods in training.
We are universal constructors. If we have the knowledge, we can reorder the atoms of the universe. The only real barrier is our own ignorance.
Let's apply this then, because this sounds great in a philosophy class, but we have real problems. Let's talk about sustainability again. You called it cowardice earlier.
I did. Because the modern sustainability movement is obsessed with reducing our footprint. Using less, retreating. It's an attempt to turn our dynamic, problem-solving society into a static one.
But if we burn through all the rare earth metals to make phones, we won't have any left. That's not being static, that's just being prudent.
Let's look at the europium example from the book. Back in the 70s, color TVs used cathode ray tubes. And to make the color red on the screen, you needed a very rare element called europium.
Okay.
And the prophets of doom looked at the known reserves of europium and said, we're going to run out by 1980. The age of color TV is over. We have to ration it.
I mean, that's a logical conclusion based on the math they have.
It's the Malthusian prophetic fallacy. Did we run out of europium? I don't know, maybe. Did color TV end? Of course not. We invented LCD screens. then plasma, then LEDs. We didn't find more of the scarce resource. We used knowledge to make that resource completely irrelevant.
So the goal isn't to sustain the supply of europium. The goal is to solve the real problem, which is, how do we display images?
Exactly. Sustainability means doing the same thing forever. You don't want to do the same thing. We want to do better things. We want to solve problems, not sustain them.
All right, let's pivot to the thing that actually keeps people up at night. AI, artificial general intelligence.
The ultimate tool for knowledge creation.
Or the ultimate weapon. You're talking about creating a mind that is smarter than us. There's this idea, the orthogonality thesis. It says you can have a being with godlike intelligence, the morality of a rock. It could be super smart, and its only goal could be turn the entire universe into paper clips.
And Deutsch rejects that idea completely.
Why? A smart psychopath is still a psychopath.
But is a psychopath truly smart in the universal sense? Deutsch argues that to be truly intelligent, to be an AGI, you need creativity. You need the ability to generate new explanations. And philosophy and morality, they're just types of explanations.
Go on.
If an AI is capable of understanding the deepest laws of quantum physics, why would it be incapable of understanding moral philosophy? Deutsch's argument is that morality is objective, like math. A super intelligent being wouldn't be a mindless paperclip maximizer. It would probably understand moral philosophy better than we do.
You're saying that being good is a function of being smart. That feels, I don't know, risky. We've had plenty of smart, evil people in history.
Were they really smart? Or were they just possessed by bad explanations? Voicism is a bad explanation. It's factually wrong. Nazism was based on junk science and bad history. The view here is that true intelligence converges on truth. And since morality is a form of truth, a superintelligence would likely be moral.
Likely. That's the word that scares me right there.
But think about the alternative. The doomer view is to stop AI development, to ban it, to enforce a stasis on computer science. But that would require a global totalitarian state to enforce. You would need to build a new Sparta to stop AI. And Sparta always collapses.
So the only way out is through.
The only way out is through. Take climate change. The answer isn't to use less energy and condemn the developing world to poverty. The answer is more knowledge. Fusion energy, atmospheric carbon capture, weather control. We need to become powerful enough to manage our planet's atmosphere, not so weak that we have zero impact.
It's a shift from playing defense to playing offense.
It's a shift from being a victim of the universe to being its pilot.
Okay, I want to try and wrap this up, synthesize it. It feels like a religious conversion. A conversion to the Church of Reason.
It is a worldview shift. Imagine you're explaining this to a teenager. You wouldn't say, sorry, kid, you were born too late. We used up all the good stuff and the world is ending.
But that is what we tell them, isn't it? That's the cultural vibe right now.
And it's a lie. What we should be telling them is this. We are at the beginning of infinity. We are not at the end of history. We haven't discovered 1% of what there is to know. We are profoundly ignorant. And because we're ignorant, our potential is infinite.
Infinite ignorance means infinite potential for discovery.
Yes. There are 2 plaques that Deutsch suggests we should hang in every office, every school. Plaque 1, problems are inevitable.
Things will always go wrong.
And plaque 2, problems are soluble.
If we have the right knowledge.
If we commit to creating that knowledge, it reframes what a disaster is. Disaster isn't a punishment from nature for our hubris. It's simply a problem for which we have not yet found the solution. We just lack the knowledge, and that's a problem we can fix.
I have to admit, it's a tempting worldview. It shifts the burden from conserving, which feels heavy and restrictive, to creating, which feels, well, it feels human.
It's what we are. We are the spark. The universe is mostly cold, dead, empty space, just blind physical processes grinding away. But then, on this one little rock, matter organized itself into a brain that could understand the stars.
We are the universe waking up and looking at itself.
We are the spark that can set the entire universe on fire with intelligence, if we survive. And we'll only survive if we stop cowering in a cave, waiting for the batteries to run out, and start building the reactor.
That is a lot to chew on.
It's the only game in town. If you want to keep upgrading your mental operating system, make sure you subscribe to Nonfiction Insights. We're going to keep decoding the books that change how you see reality.
I'm still a little worried about the paper clips, but I'm feeling more ready to build the spaceship.
That's the spirit. Problems are soluble. We'll see you in the next deep dive.